for me. So I am a substantive leader. Wait to have this press conference this morning, and I pray that you would carry the story out there. So I just want to talk about, I've divided my press briefing on basically 3 issues. The first issue, I want to give a position from our political party, Economic and Equity Party. What is our view after, you know, we are almost getting to 2 months since the new dawn came into power. What is our position? There are a lot of expectations, there is a lot of debate around that. I want to discuss that. The next point I want to discuss is some of the immediate expectations. It is an exhortation, our plea to the new government, some of the things that they need to work on immediately. The third one is an issue that relates to you as well, the media especially, vis-a-vis the social media publications. I think you, my friends, would agree that you are competing, you have got a very serious competitor in terms of social media, where everyone is going on social media, publishing things, and sometimes some of these people, they even have more followers than the bona fide professional media houses. But this has an impact on this country. So basically, these are the 3 issues that I want to discuss this morning. And I will start with, I'll start with the issue of the new dawn, government in power. I think we can officially, before the cameras, let me take this opportunity before you to congratulate the UPND government for scooping the general elections. They did very well, and I think some of us political parties, small political parties, have been inspired by the resilience of you know, the UPND and the President, Mr. Hichilema. I know some of you like to say His Excellency, but I remember at one press conference he said he would prefer to be called Mr. President. So don't think that I'm wrong when I address him as Mr. President. So, with them in power, a lot of expectations are in the minds of the people, and we have heard a lot of people calling for so many things that the UPND promised when they were campaigning. Our view as Economic and Equity Party is that much as we want to hold the UPND government accountable and exhort them to deliver on their promises, we note with concern that some stakeholders are being unreasonable in their demands. They are taking it as a political rhetoric, other than being reasonable and objective. As Economic and Equity Party, we want to call upon the Zambian people and all stakeholders to be reasonable and objective in our demands for the UPND to deliver on their promises. Because some of the things that really we are calling for, there are things that they are unattainable, they cannot be done within a month, within this short time that the UPND has been in government. I think we need to be fair here. We need to be reasonable. I am not giving an excuse for the new government for them not to deliver on the things that they promised. We want them to deliver. But certainly, it is not fair that a person comes into government within 1 month or 2 months, and you start demanding for some of these things. For example, the issue of you know, one of the issues that is highly debated, the free education. I think it is being unreasonable. It is being unreasonable. And why do we say it is unreasonable? It is unreasonable because some of these things to be done. There must be policy to go with. And Parliament just opened. So you need to, first of all, change some of the laws, some of the policies which were already there. You can't just change certain things without aligning the policies. Because this is why, at first, people were jumping up when President Hichilema swore in those ministers, in the new ministries and those which were aligned. Because the law must be followed. So let's allow these people to settle in. And I want to emphasize, this is not an excuse or calling for the UPND government to relax. We are simply saying, can we be reasonable? And for the UPND, we want to call upon them that they shouldn't be so much under pressure, because they also seem to be sometimes under pressure to bow to the pressure of the people. They are in government now, and they need to do the right thing according to the constitution. If they are going to fall to the pressure of the people, they will not deliver on what they promised. They will not realize that vision that they have. So they need to take their time and do things correctly. We need to put this country back on the tracks. And if they are going to be doing all such pante, we will not go anywhere. 5 years will pass and we'll still be at the same position. And it must also be understood by some of these political parties, especially, who seem to be so eager to see this government fail. Because, they are busy. They want to celebrate. Like they're already saying, Ukulanda kwali anguka, ukuchita kwali shupa. It is true. But I really think that any reasonable person would not say the UPND has failed, looking at the time that they have just been in power. I think let's just be fair. You can't. We are talking about a country here. We are not talking about even in a house when you take over, even at workplace. Imagine you start working within 1 month. What can you change? But we have seen that there are people who want to celebrate the downfall or the failure of the UPND. It is not right. And I know when I speak like that, people will say Tayali is, propagating or is indirectly looking for employment. Or he has been paid. But I'm used to that. When PF was in power, I used to speak the same because I speak objectively. It is about objectivity. It's about reason. And what I'm talking about here, it's reason. It's objectivity. Regardless of who would have been in State House, I would still be saying the same thing. There is no way you would expect drastic changes within 1 month, 2 months. And for goodness sake, these people are still using the same budget that was passed by the PF. They are running the PF budget. And the way the country works, is that you have to follow the budget accordingly. If you go away from the budget, it's actually a crime. It's actually a crime. This budget was passed by Parliament, and it must be followed as such. But there you are asking for certain things that you know that clearly these things can happen. It is not good. We should not always be politicizing issues. There should be time when we are supposed to be sober and reasonable. I am overemphasizing reasonable. There are times when you have to be reasonable, sober, and promote positive engagement. Positive engagement. Other than political rhetorics. Political rhetorics do not change a country. Yes, they are very exciting because this one will stand up, go on a platform, make his political rhetorics, then the other one, and people get excited. That one tells them off. That one is very courageous. But come on, man. Let us be reasonable. You can be courageous, but speak sense. Speak what is practical, other than, talking things that you know cannot happen. Who are you entertaining? At whose expense is this political rhetoric? Certainly it's not the Zambian people. It is the selfish politicians. So we are calling upon the Zambian people to be patient, to be reasonable, to be sober, to be positive in the engagement with the new government. On the new government, we also call upon them to pay attention to what people are talking about and to respect, other stakeholders. That way, we will move forward as a country. If we keep on with these political rhetoric wars, we will not move as a country. This is our view as Economic and Equity Party. So, moving on to the next issue is that whilst we are saying that we need to be patient, Zambian people need to be patient, we also want to appeal to the New Dawn government that there are certain things that this New Dawn government can quickly work on. Yes, there are certain things that need policy alignment, some of them which might even need the law to be changed. But there are certain things that can be done immediately, especially those that affect the lives of people. For example, we have at the moment some civil servants who have not been paid their dues in various ways. I mean, some of them it's settlement allowance, some of them is leave, some of them it's salaries that are delayed. These ones, they are a lifeline kind of needs. So the New Dawn government needs to accelerate. They need to look into these issues. They need to pay those that the government owes. The civil servants, we are calling upon this New Dawn government to quickly look into paying these people, because these people, some of them have been waiting for far too long. They have been waiting for far too long. Before the PF government, they were not paid. And they prayed that when we change the government, we will be paid our dues. Unfortunately, it is now over 6 weeks and they have not been paid. I think this is causing anxiety in the people. Needless to say that their lives is not well, because they are expecting this money. So we are calling upon them that let them not waste too much time, because these people have already worked. If people have already worked, pay them. They have already worked. Please pay these people. I also want to say the same thing there are some small suppliers for government. Those people, imagine somebody, a widow who is trying to survive, who has supplied beans to the Ministry of Home Affairs. Imagine somebody who has done a little job there and is expecting only a 10,000 kwacha, and the government is not paying because they want to do the audit, because they want to check this and that. I think this one, I'm calling upon President Hichilema to quickly look into this. Let these small suppliers, workers who are being owed money, to be paid quickly. This they can do. I know we don't have money, but we're not talking about big monies here. Those who are owing, who are being owed by government millions of kwachas and dollars, those they can wait. But I'm talking about poor people, simple people, workers. These people need their monies, including the so-called retirees. We have some retirees who are still crying for their monies. These things, people voted for the UPND with the expectation that they will look into these issues. Can they please look into these issues? The other issue is the issue of debt swap. Debt swap, it is a project that was already in process. It was in process. And therefore, this government cannot prolong whatever they are doing to look at this debt swap. We understand certain things were not right, but come on, it shouldn't take them that long. Because already we have some people that already benefited. So it is unfair that others have benefited whilst others have not. So can they look at these issues quickly, the immediate issues? An ingenious leadership looks at the immediate and the future, short term and long term. And they need to look at these problems in that manner, the immediate ones. A person has worked, is expecting his money, pay that person. A person has supplied something, small money, pay that person. And we have also, in terms of short term and long term. Long term, you'll be talking about creating jobs. You need to create jobs. But in that vein, there are people who are already in employment and their contracts are ending. You, the media, you might be aware that there are some health workers who were employed as interns. They were employed as interns and their contracts are ending. What are they going to do about this? I am calling upon the Ministry of Health, Honorable Chilufya Tayali, to quickly look at the interns who were employed and their contracts are ending. Are they going to renew them or they will send them back home? These are immediate things because they are already there. So you can quickly at least absorb this whilst you wait for those who are at home to create the budget and everything to absorb them. But for those who are already in there, can they look into that? So the other point now is the issue of the fighting corruption and recovery of stolen goods. We welcome the UPND government to for their policy of zero tolerance to corruption. This is very good. Zambia longed for this. Economic and Equity Party has been crying for this. I'm sure a lot of you here have come here and covered me where I've spoken about corruption. And I did not succeed much during the PF government because most of these people were protected by the PF government. So we are highly elated to see that the UPND government has taken that direction of zero tolerance to corruption. This is very good. We welcome it and we will support the UPND government in that. However, we have a little bit of concern when we talk about the recovery of stolen properties. I think we need to be very, very careful that in as much as we want to fight corruption, we should not target people or victimize people when they are innocent. We should not target people or victimize people when they are innocent. Just for us to prove a point that we are fighting corruption. I have seen, especially on social media, there are a lot of allegations of people are imagining there are millions which are hidden, which are buried. Let's change the currency and so on and so forth. I think we should not talk about corruption when we don't have a prima facie case, when we don't have a shred of evidence. Because by doing so, we are actually lowering the profile of a country. A country that is corrupt, a country where corruption is so pronounced, it is not a good profile. It causes investor flight. It causes investor repugnation because they don't want to come to a country where there is too much corruption. So when we're talking about corruption, let us make sure that there is corruption indeed. Don't just say, Tayali is corrupt just because I bought a new suit and you start speculating about corruption. I don't think that is fair. Let us not dance to the tune of the West, who are always calling us corrupt. Be mindful that, corruption is so pronounced in Africa than in the West. And African leaders, they, without realizing it, they convict themselves on the international scene. by proclaiming that my country is so corrupt, my country is so corrupt. Some of it, like I'm going to talk about now, when I'm talking about social media, it's mostly speculation than reality. So please, let us be very careful when we are following these people. I want them to be followed, that's for sure. Those who have stolen, I want them to be followed. But let us not drag everybody into it. They are not, all Zambians, or many Zambians are not corrupt. I believe that. I strongly believe that many Zambians are not corrupt. We are not a corrupt nation. We are not. We just lack. And when you are poor, even when you buy beggar, they start wondering to say, after we send Pia. No, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. So, going to the other point is social media and its propaganda against the line media houses. I think my brothers and sisters, my colleagues in the media, your profession is at risk. Your profession is at risk. And I'm calling upon you to fight this. To fight this. And the only way you can fight is by countering the falsehood that is being peddled on social media. I'm afraid that many times you cover us, especially politicians and other leaders, you cover us and give us a platform to utter falsehoods, speculations, without challenging us. And you even cover some of these stories which are not true. I think it is very, very unfortunate. And I picked up some of some of the issues that have been in the public domain recently. One of the issues I'll talk about is, for example, just as an example, and I pray that the individual I'm talking about will not take offense. And I think he shouldn't take offense because he's one of those people that was highly discussed. The issue of Dr. Simon Miti. I think you agree with me that Dr. Simon Miti was highly covered, especially on social media. And up to today, is a subject of discussion. And the issue started, I think was ignited mostly by the Member of Parliament, Munia Zulu, who alleged that Dr. Miti is supposed to be arrested because the judgment said that he's supposed to be arrested in the Henry Kapoko case. And Dr. Miti is a secretary to the cabinet. This is a big person. And when somebody says he's supposed to be arrested, he's a criminal, I seriously took interest. Because I don't want a secretary to the cabinet who is a criminal. So I took it upon myself to do a little bit of investigation. And what I discovered made me feel very bad. I wrote a letter. What I started with checking, because he's a secretary to cabinet. And the secretary to cabinet, he must be ratified by parliament. Before you are secretary to cabinet, you must be ratified. So I went to parliament. I wrote a letter. This is the letter that I wrote, to parliament, so that they can give me the records or information about this person. And parliament did respond to me. This is the response I got from parliament, from the clerk. And I collected, these are some of the documents that I got from parliament. Because when you are appointed, you are sent to parliament, and parliament has to ratify you. And what happens is that the speaker sets up a commission, and that commission is like a court where witnesses are called in to come and give a testimony about this individual. So I was very sure from that investigation, I was very sure a lot of people must have gone there to give their testimony. And of course, even some documentations and whatever letters, a lot of it are in here. Now, to start with, I found out that the issue of Henry Kapoko, Dr. Simon Miti was not an accused. Neither was he a suspect. Dr. Simon, this is what I found out. And I'm setting an example of one person. I have picked 3 names, but I will drop the other 2 just because one of them was relieved. One of them is actually Kingsley Chanda. I also did an investigation on that, but it was dropped, and I will just speak briefly about it. But he was not a suspect, neither was he an accused. And this I found in the letters, 3 letters from the DPP. One was from Nchenga, then the other one, Mtembochito didn't write, but he had asked for, for an investigation, and he gave an opinion. And then that one is the current DPP. And they all said Dr. Miti was a witness, a person who actually started the case. It is all here. There is a story. I mean, some of you, if you want to share, I can share. He started it when he caught Kapoko, because Kapoko was forging his signature. And he asked him to be transferred from the Ministry of Health, and he went to the Ministry of Local Government. But when the case started, Dr. Miti was a witness. And clearly, it is very, very sad, my brothers and sisters, what I read and what I found out from, I was one of those people who was thinking to say, if this man is supposed to be arrested, why are the police not moving? I wanted to move the police to arrest this man. And what I found out is that this man is innocent. If anything, this man is the one that started it. And about the judgment itself, you can read the judgment. I took time. I started this case, as you can see, this is 17th September. I got the judgment, which I have electronic. I read through it. There is nowhere where that Zonobit Zulu, Magistrate Zonobit Zulu, where he wrote it to say Dr. Miti must be arrested. There is nowhere in that judgment. But he said it off cuff, which the DPP actually said, we don't understand why he said it. And from what I understand, he was actually censured and transferred for the statement that he made, because the person was a witness, and yet he criminalized him from I don't know where and how he did that. Now, this is an example of a situation where somebody is going around saying this person is a criminal, and he even held a press conference to say this person is a criminal, and he's citing a judgment. And the question that I was asking to say, has the journalist taken interest to read through the judgment to see where this is written? And it's not there. It's not there in the judgment. And the Anti-Corruption Commission also wrote something to Parliament explaining themselves to say, we didn't even warn him or caution him, because when you are a suspect, they warn and caution you. But because he was a witness, they didn't even warn and caution him. I saw that from the documents that I got from Parliament. But we have the entire member of Parliament calling an individual as criminal, when in fact he helped this nation for people to be arrested and the resources retrieved. This is just one example. I had to pick an example. And I know there are a number of people who have also been labeled to be criminal, either in the private sector or in the public sector. And what is happening is that some of these people who are calling themselves media houses on social media, they are thriving on this kind of information. And this is why I'm saying it calls upon you, the fourth estate, to help the nation to know the truth. When somebody makes up an allegation, follow them up, quiz them, let them give you the truth, let them give you the evidence. Otherwise, we are destroying good citizens of our country. And believe you me, I know how it feels when you are accused falsely. I've been there. If you are a journalist, imagine I write, it's not a media house, but you know, my page, if I just from nowhere, I say Francis received 2 million. I can pick on Francis. Where's Francis? Yeah. Francis got 2 million. Francis, my friend, when you go, wherever you go, people will be looking at you.
They're still looking at the next step.
So it is very important that we clarify some of the issues that are coming out of the media, out of social media. I am really at pain. I am one of those people that has accused people of having stolen or having done this and that. But I can assure you that each time I called you and accused people, I had evidence. I may not have succeeded in a number of the cases that I brought up. It is not because I didn't have the evidence. I can assure you that. It is because I'm let down by politicians who don't want to fight corruption. Politicians who are highly political. That is why some of my cases, I've just left them. But I can assure you, there is no case that I brought here and I didn't have evidence. If I apologized, I know you say, you apologize. It is to apologize because you have seen that the power that be have not supported you, the system, and you know you are going to crash. So the best that you do, you just withdraw. Not that you don't have the evidence. I can assure you, I am very strong on all the cases that I brought. Even those cases where people took me to court. They took me to court, I just couldn't fight it. But I had some evidence. But it is too much on social media. People are being criminalized. And it pains me because we are destroying people's names. Some people, they are actually even making money out of this. They are creating false stories and going to some of these rich people and asking them for money. No, this person has written this. Can you give me money so that I can counter it? This is criminality. This is criminality. It's holding people to ransom. It's defrauding people. So please, the media, help the nation to clarify some of these things. And I hope you can write about Dr. Miti. I have, if you want really whatever it is, I have all the evidence from Parliament and from other sources. Dr. Miti was not a criminal, neither was he a suspect or an accused. And I apologize for Dr. Miti to bringing him, in public like this. I hope you won't mind, but I have done it because I think people need to know that the man helped that case other than, putting him as part of the criminal. I think I have delivered my points, basically. Let's be patient with the UPND government. However, there are some immediate issues that they can deal with. Can they deal with those issues? When we are fighting corruption, yes, let's fight corruption, but let us not criminalize everybody. The media, please help to clean or to defend the innocent who are being accused falsely by the public out there that they are criminals when they are not. Please challenge those people who come up with these issues. I've said this, go and ask Munier Zulu to show you in that judgment where it is written that Dr. Miti was conniving with Kapoko or he took part in that criminality. Let him go and tell you. Otherwise, it is unfair, especially that he's a member of parliament, to be coming out in the manner that he's doing. Maligning people, criminalizing people without evidence. I think we need to be more responsible. Thank you very much. Any questions? We go. It's a Sunday. South Africa.